So the first thing I want to say before I do these predictions is that I am not confident in this at all, and that goes to show if it's a good tournament or not, if it can be this unpredictable. But yeah, this was tough. Hello and welcome to FTTR, I am Hugh McQuaid, and today we are talking about Progress Wrestling. In particular, we are talking about Super Strong Style 16, and in particular, we are talking about booking the entire tournament. That's right, they've released the graphic, we know all the matchups, we know how it's going to play out in the opening round matches, and I'm going to try and predict the entire tournament. So last year, I didn't do too bad. I got the two finalists and I got the winner. I think leading up to it was a bit iffy, but I got there eventually. This one is tough because, like I said in the intro, this is an unpredictable tournament. There are so many different ways that they could go, and that is what I like so much about this year's Strong Style. But before we dive into that, please subscribe, please like this video, please comment your thoughts down below, and I'll try to reply to every single one of them as we dive into this. Starting with the opening round matches. That's right. So, setting the scene a little bit, Luke Jacobs is the current Progress Wrestling World Champion, and he is taking on Cara Noir at Super Strong Style. So either man could walk out of this night as the champion. I have gone into this with my heart telling me that Cara Noir will win because I love him so much, but I think it's going to be a Luke Jacobs retention. So the way I have booked my tournament and the way I've predicted the tournament is that the outcome will be Luke Jacobs as champion. So, shall we start with probably the hardest match that I had to pick because I was so unbelievably torn on this opening round match, and that is Man Like DeReiss versus Ethan Allen. So, Ethan Allen, a great tournament wrestler. I have seen him be a great tournament wrestler in the Burning Hearts Pro Wrestling World Championship tournament where he made it to the final, defeating Luke Jacobs in one of the matches. However, I think this is going to be a Man Like DeReiss win. I think the way this goes is Man Like DeReiss picks up the win, maybe through a roll-up or something like that. Then I think he will get beaten down after the match by Ethan Allen, maybe take out the leg. In my fantasy booking, he takes out the leg of Man Like DeReiss, and DeReiss is injured going into the rest of Strong Style. I think DeReiss, we're heading... I need DeReiss to win a world title, and I think this could put him on the trajectory, so I'm going to go with Man Like DeReiss here. Next up, we have Tate Mayfairs taking on Masa Kitamiya from Pro Wrestling Noah. I have gone for Tate Mayfairs here. I don't want to just beat all the people coming across from Noah, but for the story that I'm telling and the story that I think this is going to go, I think you're looking at almost a Scott Pilgrim scenario where you're going to get remnants of Luke Jacobs' 7 Evil X's coming after him in this tournament because he has hurt a lot of people. He has pissed off a lot of people, and one of those being Tate Mayfairs when he beat him for the world title. So yeah, I think Tate Mayfairs advances over Masa Kitamiya, but I think this will be a really excellent match. The next bracket in the opening round match is probably the one that I'm most confident on. The first match being Marcus Mathers versus Will Cruz. I've gone for Marcus Mathers here purely because I think there will be some Gene Money interference, and I think there will be some shenanigans with Gene Money here costing Will Cruz after what happened like the last show. And yeah, I think Marcus Mathers advances. Next matchup is Charlie Sterling, formerly the Smoking Aces, taking on Simon Miller. Again, I love Simon Miller to pieces, but Charlie Sterling is a recently made single star since Nick Riley has since retired. I think Charlie Sterling's going to have a great showing in Super Strong Style 16, and I think he will beat Simon Miller here. Maybe do like a really bloody beatdown angle on Simon Miller to establish Charlie Sterling as like an absolute badass and one to watch, because I think he's great in ring and he's a great bad guy. So yeah, Charlie Sterling advancing here. Next up, we move on to the other side of the bracket. Now, these were really hard to call. I think this side of the bracket is super difficult to predict, and the first match we are talking about is Jack Morris versus Leon Slater. I switched these two multiple times, but I think in my heart I'm going to go with Leon Slater. I think Leon Slater advances in the first round match by beating Jack Morris. Again, I'm not positive, I'm not confident on that because I don't think that both of the Noah guys are going to lose. But I think Leon Slater, almost following the path of Darius, boisterous behaviour, working their way up to Luke Jacobs through this tournament, I think that makes all the sense in the world. Next up, we have Kid Lykos 2 versus Zazoya. Zazoya making his return to Progress in the Strong Style tournament. I am going to go with Zazoya here. I love Kid Lykos 2 to pieces, but I don't think... I love him, but he does lose a lot. And yeah, I think they've got more tag stuff planned, Lykos Gym. They're on a trajectory seemingly towards Sunshine Machine in the tag team titles. So I think Zazoya picking up a win here, establishing him as a single star to watch in Progress. Yeah, and we get Zazoya versus Slater in the next round. The final bracket. Now this is a very interesting matchup, and it is Michael Oku versus Kid Lykos. Kid Lykos, who has won Super Strong Style in the past, he's looking to become a 2-time Strong Style winner, going up against Michael Oku, the current Rev Pro Undisputed Champion. I've gone for a Michael Oku win here. I think Michael Oku, following his loss from Luke, the fact that he's doing more Progress stuff, I think a great showing in Strong Style will really establish him as one of the big top names, top draws, and I hope he does more stuff in Progress. I don't think Lykos loses anything from losing, other than the fact that I have just beaten both of Lykos Gym in the tournament, but I think you could do some sort of shenanigans, maybe with Connor Mills, maybe reignite that, but it seems like that's the past. I don't know. But I'm going with Michael Oku. I'm being told by something out there in the world that Michael Oku is winning this match. And the final match in the first round matches is Trent Seven versus Charles Crowley. Now, again, I love Charles Crowley to pieces. I think he's absolutely great. But Trent Seven is a machine, and I think Trent Seven picks up the win here, beating Charles Crowley. I think that is something to do later down the line with a Charles Crowley Super Strong Style win, in that him being the joke. And I think they were kind of playing that up before the Super Strong Style last year. Was it last year or the year before? They were sort of playing up that he was sort of building himself up to eventually win Strong Style. I don't think it's been played up as much this year, so I think Trent Seven picks up the win over Charles Crowley in this opening match. Now we are into the quarterfinals. My quarterfinals that I'm predicting. And the first one is Man Like Darius versus Tate Mayfairs. Now, I have gone for Man Like Darius picking up the win here. I think that, following on from what I said in the previous match, I think Darius has a leg injury. I think Tate is torn as to whether to target that, whether to lean into some of his more heelish tendencies. And I think that is ultimately his undoing as Darius picks up the win and advances to the semi-finals. I think, yeah, Darius all the way here. Next up, we have Charlie Sterling versus Marcus Mathers. I've gone for Charlie Sterling here. Again, like I said in my previous pick, I think he's an absolute unit. I think he's going to destroy Marcus Mathers. And I think he's a great bad guy, a great heel to go up against Darius in the quarterfinals. In the semi-finals. We're in the quarterfinals. I think it'll be a great choice to go against Darius in the semi-finals. So yeah, Charlie Sterling picks up the win. The next match we will talk about is Zazoya versus Leon Slater. I think I'm actually going to go for Zazoya here. I think he's someone that you can really establish in Progress, being a staple, being a mainstay, and having him pick up a big win over Leon Slater. They obviously had an insanely good Iron Man match in Rev Pro, so I think running it back here, and yeah, this will be a potential match of the show if these two do cross paths, but I think Zazoya picks up the win here, but it's 50-50 for me. And the final match in the quarterfinals is Michael Oku versus Trent Seven. This is another tough one. Like, these are all so tough to predict. I'm going to go with Michael Oku. I think Michael Oku, again, just propelling him into the main event scene, getting some wins back following his loss to Luke at Las Vegas. Trent doesn't lose anything here. You could even have Trent maybe beat down Oku after the match, maybe turn heel, maybe lean into some of those heelish tendencies that Trent Seven can do. But yeah, I think Michael Oku picks up the win here over Trent Seven. And then we are in my semi-finals, in which I have Man Like Darius taking on Charlie Sterling. I think there is a solid argument to give the Strong Style win to Charlie Sterling, having him just leave the tag team, be a fresh single star. However, I think there is something better to be told with him coming very close. So I've gone for man like Darius to pick up the win here. I think maybe through Sterling's arrogance, Darius is beaten down. He's had grueling matches with Tate and Ethan Allen. His legs basically falling off. And Charlie Sterling just getting overconfident, getting over cocky like he used to do in the Smoking Aces, and sort of that being his undoing. I think Darius picks up the win and advances to the finals. And the final match in the semi-finals is Michael Oku versus Zazoya. This was tough. But I've gone for, only because there is a spot I have in mind, I've gone for Michael Oku to pick up the win over Zazoya, getting to the final, again, really establishing him as a mainstay of Progress. This is like, I don't know if he's been in another Super Strong style, I'd have to check, but if he's not, this being his first one, getting to the finals straight away, I think, yeah, Michael Oku picking up the win over Zazoya. Zazoya coming really close, having a great showing, but yeah, Michael Oku advancing to the final. And then we have my final, man like Darius versus Michael Oku. I think this would be a great match. I think this would be such a good match. A match that I don't know if it's happened. These guys wrestle so much. It probably has happened somewhere, but not that I can remember. I've gone for man like Darius picking up the win and winning the tournament. I have the idea that he has an injured leg. Michael Oku has him in the half crab and is just wrenching back on Darius, and Darius doesn't tap. He doesn't give up. He eventually picks up the win over Michael Oku, sets his sights on Luke Jacobs, because I think if there's one person to take the belt off Luke, I think it's man like Darius. They set it up right from the beginning of his reign. I think Darius becoming a Progress World Champion, beating Luke Jacobs by doing so, is basically just written in the stars. I think it was such a shame if Darius never becomes a Progress World Champion, and I think he's earned a win of Super Strong style. He is loved by the crowd. He could tell a great story throughout this tournament, a great story with Luke Jacobs. I think this could be a really fun tournament, and yeah, those are my predictions. I predict man like Darius will win Super Strong Style 16 2025. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Who do you think is going to win Super Strong Style? Let me know, and I'll try to apply to every single one of them. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and have a nice day.